Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very, very much for tuning in. Eric H526, Luke St. Martin, thank you so very much for being amazing moderators. First and foremost, JSpot51. First of all, thank you, JSpot51. Speculation leads to doubt, leads to fear, leads to anger, and anger leads to the golden moon. My Harry. Thank you, Harry. Thank you. My prediction stands, and here's the logic and the beauty of the H.A. Goodman prophecy. The prophecy, I'm joking, obviously, but I have been saying that President Trump is going to go 8 years in 2 terms from the moment he won. So NPR quoted me in 2015. The link is below. I called the 2016 election in 2015. You could read I said Clinton would lose and that she was unelectable. I am telling the world that, and I've been telling the world that Biden, there's no way they could possibly be serious about Biden. I don't care about the same polls that were inaccurate all throughout 2016. They were horrible. And they say, well, the polls were kind of accurate. Yeah, after Election Day when they got millions of votes from California. Other than that, swing state polls were horrendous. And swing state polls are what count. You cannot win, by the way, without Hispanic and Latino support. And Biden is doing horribly, absolutely horribly among Hispanic and Latino voters, especially Cuban Americans in Florida. But Latino voters across the country are going to give President Trump 2 terms. But my prediction has always been Clinton is going to, at some point, enter the contest. But the most important part of this prediction has been President Trump goes 8 years. If they are so inept that they go with Biden on November 3rd, if they're so incompetent and foolish, then people can say to me, oh, H.A. Goodman, you were wrong about Clinton. President Trump's going 8 years. So I won't even worry. I won't even worry if it's Biden, because he does not have the support to defeat President Trump in swing states. He doesn't have the support. He doesn't have any. I can obsess over all of that. President Trump is going 8 years. Before that, he's going to pick 3 Supreme Court justices. I took heat in the midterms, but I was right, 100% right. I said we would gain seats in the Senate. That was the most, and one person spent an entire, got 30,000 views trying to say, oh, H.A. Goodman melted down during. I was right about the Senate. Everyone can see the Senate was the most important victory. It was the first time in 105 years that that the party in the executive branch increased their lead in the Senate. The first time in 105 years, something like that. So President Trump has a great deal more support than people think. But I wanted to start off this. So JSpot51, thank you. Harry, thank you. To my super chat, I don't have $20 million in venture capital funding like some people, so I do appreciate your support, and your support is greatly, greatly, greatly appreciated. Eric H526, Luke St. Martin, thank you so very, very much. Eric H526, thank you. Why do people dislike President Trump? Why do people dislike President Trump? So we today he issued a message from Walter Reed. And God bless him. He's going to be okay. He's going to be fine. He's going to have a full recovery. The man doesn't have any serious pre-existing conditions. He is of an age group that where the odds are slightly higher, or perhaps considerably higher, depending on your health, where there are complications pertaining to the pandemic. But he issued a a video today, and God bless him. He's going to be fine. He's going to have a full recovery. First and foremost, President Trump doesn't abide by the apoplectic media narrative specifically designed just to undermine him. So what media, okay, this is very important to understand. There aren't many people wearing Make America Great Again hats at the Associated Press or Reuters, or especially not at CNN or MSNBC or the New York Times or the Washington Post. If you went into the Washington Post cafeteria and the New York Times said, hey Bob, how you doing? And you were wearing a Make America Great Again hat or shirt, your days would be numbered. You're not going to make it as a journalist or reporter at the New York Times if you went in with a shirt that says, I voted for President Obama or Onward Together. You'd be fine. They wouldn't even probably care at all. They wouldn't care at all. They wouldn't care. They wouldn't even bat an eye. But media is it's not even, this is not even hyperbole. Media is like an extension of the Democratic Party. Media is an extension of the Democratic Party. So everything there are about 5 to 6 to 7 things that Trump never said. He never said these things, but media either put words in his mouth or assumed that he meant something he never said. He never said the 1930s and 1940 German wannabes in Virginia were fine people. He never, ever said this. In fact, he condemned them that day and the next day. He never said that. The fantasy around what happened was, well, Trump won because of a base of support that consists of racists throughout the country, and he had to speak to them subliminally. And so that's why he didn't condemn the racism. He did. He did condemn the racism. He has consistently condemned racism. It's never good enough. It's never, ever good enough. So, Crazy D, 1955. Trump 2020 landslide. I'm hoping for, it's going to be a decisive victory, but Crazy D, 1955, thank you so very, very much. I can't wait till November 3rd. It's Christmas come early. It's Christmas come early. It's Hanukkah come early. Crazy D, 1955, thank you so very, very much. Anita, hello. But you have to ask yourself, ladies and gentlemen, you have to ask yourself, why are they putting words in Trump's mouth? So he never said that there were fine people on both sides, specifically referring to racists in a subliminal manner, in a surreptitious manner to get their votes. Because these people are not plentiful enough. There aren't enough horrible racist monsters around the country to win an election. A presidential election, no, there aren't. And President Trump won states that President Obama won and Clinton won. Michigan hasn't voted for a Republican since 1988. Pennsylvania hasn't voted for a Republican since 1988. And Wisconsin hasn't voted for a Republican since 1984. So you tell me where these wide swaths of horrible bigots and racists exist, where they can swing elections, assuming that they only vote Republican or they don't vote Democrat. He never said the pandemic was a hoax. He never said this. Matthew! AA04 Matthew, we love you, HA. I love all of you, and I thank all of you. Matthew, thank you so very much, Matthew. Thank you so very much, Matthew Crazy D. Thank you so very, very much. Matthew, be here. Crazy D and everybody here, be here November 3rd, all throughout November. Subscribe to H.A. Goodman's other channel. I am ramping up content. I am trying to. I want my my website's going to come out in about a week. So it's going to be hagoodman.com. You're going to love it. You're going to be able, everyone, to subscribe to a newsletter, which will initially be a really awesome notification system. So I'll be able to email a whole lot of people. Hopefully it'll be a system where if people don't get notified for any live stream or upload, they get notified via the website. But I'll give you my thoughts on politics and life on there as well. So it'll be a newsletter slash notification system, and that's email me at contactgoodman78@gmail.com if you want to be part of that newsletter. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you again. But he never said the pandemic was a hoax. He said the media response to the pandemic, trying to blame him for everything, was a hoax. But they spun it around. They cannot deal with reality. The reality is he did not work with Russia. He never worked with Russia. They impeached him for nonsense. He never withheld military assistance because Biden was so pure as the driven snow that it was completely uncalled for or unjust or unlawful to look into his dealings. Aussie woman! Love from down under, H.A. Aussie woman, thank you so very, very much. Please be here November 3rd. Please be here November 3rd. Aussie woman, thank you. I have the strongest Australian support, I think, of any YouTuber aside from Australian YouTubers. But Aussie woman, thank you. Thank you so very much, Aussie woman. Thank you. Crazy D, 1955. Thank you. Aussie woman, thank you so much. He never said to inject yourself with Clorox. That never happened. It never happened. It never happened. It never happened. He was thinking out loud, and okay, to be fair, he wasn't joking. He was thinking out loud because he probably heard from scientists or doctors something about either UV light or some, he who knows what he was talking about, because there are researchers around the world, and there has been research or scientific data on some of the things he was talking about, but he never stated, we should do this as a country. You should do this to yourself. The media took it. And why am I telling you all of this? I'm telling you this because the reaction to President Trump, testing positive, is a mirror into their souls. And I'll get to that in a second. He never suggested, because I'm pretty good at semantics and words and writing and understanding deception. George Orwell called euphemisms, for example, verbal refuse. And that phrase could be used to describe exactly how media operates. A whole bunch of verbal refuse. So Aussie woman, thank you again. So kind of you, and thank you for watching as always. Frank! I listened to Trump's talk today for a man in his 70s with so-called. He sounded healthier today than my healthiest friends on their best day. Exactly, Frank. He has more energy than most 20-year-olds. Frank, he has more energy than most 20-year-olds. Bandsaw Bandit! Aussies ain't down under because the earth is... Okay. Bandsaw Bandit, hello. Bandsaw Bandit, hello. Thank you. Frank an Aussie woman, and everybody here, he has more energy than most 20-year-olds, and that's true. That's true. But he never said, inject yourself with Lysol. He never said, use Lysol like Banaka. Remember Banaka? He never said, let me look that up for a second. That's old school. Oh, it's still around. Yeah. That's right. So he never said to do this. He never advised. And what media does, like, he suggested. Can you believe what he suggested? Can you believe what he suggested? Can you believe what he suggested? Okay, with Jonathan Swan, when Jonathan Swan was like, you're talking about percentage of overall population. I'm talking about per capita. Is like, well, you want to talk about the per capita rate, but you don't want to. And this is, ladies and gentlemen, from the New York Times. So he never says it. He never said it is what it is, pertaining directly to the suffering of people. He never said that pertaining to the suffering of people. If you want to talk about the per capita rate of lives lost, I am reading you from today, the New York Times. You cannot judge the United States of America with 50 states, and we have a constitution that allows for a federal government and a state government. And you cannot say, well, per capita in our country, we're doing worse than others. So Jonathan Swan's like, 1,000 people a day. We have 320 million Americans, Mr. Swan. We are the third most populous country after China and India. What do you want? Like, you could do the same things with cancer patients. You could do the same things with drunk driving. You could do the same things. Life is... there are so many ways, unfortunately, in this world to lose your life. You want to ban alcohol, you want to ban smoking, you will save a lot more lives than lockdowns with the pandemic. But we tried banning alcohol, it doesn't work. And do you want to know how many house parties and how many get-togethers are taking place all throughout states that have these lockdowns where people don't wear masks? It's gotten so bad that in California, mayors have to shut down the power to houses that have these parties. But here, New Jersey, New York, Massachusetts, Connecticut, 1, 2, 3, 4, have the highest rate per capita. And then you go Rhode Island, then D.C. Okay, so it's New Jersey, New York, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Louisiana, Rhode Island, Mississippi, D.C., Arizona, Illinois. 7 of the top 10 are run by Democrats. 7 of the top 10 states that have the highest rate per capita are run by Democrats. Okay, 7 of the top 10. You want to talk about aggregate lives lost? Okay. New York and New Jersey have about a quarter of all the lives lost in this country. They have almost 50,000 Americans who've lost their lives. Go look it up today in the New York Times. Go look it up today in the New York Times. And if you want to look at the aggregate numbers, it's in New York Times today. New York, Texas, and Texas has more people than New York and has half the number of lives lost. New Jersey, California, Florida, Massachusetts, Illinois, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Georgia. Of the 10, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10... Michigan, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Massachusetts, California, New Jersey, and New York. 7 of the top 10 out of as of October 3rd, 2020. 7 of the top 10 states in this country account for almost half of the If you add about 3 or 4 more states, you have around 10 states with over half of the lives lost. And 7 approaching half of the lives lost. You can do the math on them. This is kind of morbid, so I'm not going to count each state's. But if you look at we have 50 states. Democratic-run states are doing the worst, and you can't blame population because Texas and Florida have a greater population. They have less lives lost, and they have a much lower per capita rate. New York, it's 169 people who've lost their lives per 100,000. In Texas, it's 56. And then they slice and dice the statistics up and they say, well, you know what? In the past week, in the past month, in the past 2 days, in the past 3 days, the aggregate numbers show that Democrats have dropped the ball and if you want to politicize this, then you can easily blame Democrats. Greg Landry! I wish I could say what I want. I think people are smarter than the MSM. Positive reinforcement, gladly accepted. Exactly, Greg. I agree with you. I agree with you. They're going to lose on November 3rd, and I don't think they realize that they're going to lose and President Trump is going 8 years. I don't think they realize this. And if forget about me, there's Professor Helmut Norpoth, who's a lot smarter than I am. And he's awesome. And he has the primary model. And Biden couldn't buy a vote in New Hampshire, Iowa, or Nevada. In Nevada, he was second, but he was a distant second. So they're not going to make the only hope they have is to make it close enough. They're talking about a Biden rout. There is nothing about Biden. Well, first of all, you cannot win whether you're a Democrat or Republican, you cannot win without Hispanic and Latino support. It's the largest non-white demographic in the country. Trump is doing better. Hispanic and Latino voters are going to give Trump the election. They're the ones who are going to give Trump the election. He has better support among Hispanic and Latino voters. John Mark! H.A. Goodman, the man. Thank you, John. Thank you, John Mark. Thank you so very, very much. John, please be here November 3rd. It's going to be the biggest day in the history of the internet. Internet's pretty much 20 years old, where it's like, a huge part of people's lives. For the past 20 years, the internet has been ubiquitous. And in the history of the past 20 years, November 3rd will be the most important day in the history of the internet. And I'm fortunate to be spending time with everyone here. John Mark, everyone here, Simon, Luis Rivera. Be here, everyone, November 3rd. It's going to be the most beautiful pandemonium, the most euphoric party of all time. John Mark, thank you. Simon Hathaway, Spurlock, shout out to everyone who grew up with Banaka. Yeah. Simon, Luis Rivera, hello. Hello, Luis Rivera, hello. Thank you, Luis. Luis, thank you so very, very much. Luis Rivera, thank you so much. Thank you, Luis. Simon! I don't, I'll tell you this. In aggregate, this helps President Trump. So, Simon, it helps President Trump. And I don't know how Madam Secretary is going to come in, but let's put it this way. They go with Biden on election day, they're done as a political party. I'm expecting Madam Secretary to replace Biden any day or a day before the election. So that prediction will stand firmly, absolutely. That prediction will stand until President Trump wins. So whatever happens between now and November 3rd, I'm expecting Clinton to replace Biden. I'm the only person on the planet now saying this. I am the only person saying this. But I will tell you, the biggest part of my prediction, H.A. Goodman prophecy, which I'm joking about, obviously, but the biggest part is President Trump going 8 years. So, and he will go 8 years. Nobody ever said in their entire lives, nobody said, you know who's really inspiring? Joe Biden. He inspires me. Nobody has ever said this. There's nobody that has ever said this. But he never said, take a syringe and find a furniture cleaner. He never said this. He never said this. As a percentage of overall population, we're doing pretty well. And this is what Jonathan, you were talking about percentages of overall population. I was talking about per capita. Yeah, well, 7 of the top 10 states that have the biggest issues and that have the highest rate of people losing their lives are Democratic-run states, and they happen to be in New York, New Jersey, and God bless the people of these states. The Democrats let the people down. So it's like the media and Democrats, Jonathan Swan, don't just look at the New York Times statistics, the aggregate numbers. Look at the aggregate numbers and and use just some modicum of context. He's like 1,000 people a day. We have 320 million Americans. In aggregate numbers, you're going to find a large number of people who are either suffering. You want to know how horribly short-sighted the lockdowns and the paranoia and the hysteria have been? Do you want to know how many cancer patients weren't able to get the treatment they needed? Do you want to know how many people didn't get screened for cancer and other illnesses? People missing checkups? People not being able to go to the dentist? How many people suffered from dental problems? How many people suffered from not just that, from losing their income? They're like, well, we have to, it's just for your... Nobody buys any more than nonsense. It's for your benefit. If you shut down the economy and shut down a person's ability to make money, you're doing far worse than them catching the pandemic, infinitely worse. Then they don't focus on survival rate. I wonder why. But you have issues, ladies and gentlemen, with the media, and you have issues with he never said both sides. Never. That was never not the statement that they attribute to him. He never said use Lysol as Banaka. He never said it is what it is pertaining to the suffering. He never said that. He was arguing with a very belligerent reporter who was deliberately focusing on one statistic while ignoring a far more relevant statistic, in my view. President Trump should have said, yeah, well, other countries, Germany and Korea, don't have de Blasio. They don't have Cuomo. So that's one reason why they're doing a lot better. They don't have Murphy. You can't talk about per capita statistics and ignore the fact that the highest rate per capita are in the top 10 highest rates per capita states, including D.C., in the country. 7 of the top 10 are Democratic run. Okay, the lowest per capita, you're talking about red states. But again, see, if media politicizes everything. And then they say, well, why is Trump politicizing everything? Then they say, well, this is hilarious also. I mean, they're so illogical. It's like so irrational and illogical. So AOC today, in addition to the fact they say that Trump doesn't have empathy and they poke and prod him like a lion in a cage, and then they say, oh my God, he's fighting back. Oh my God. AOC today said, oh, Twitter is like enforcing rules pertaining to threatening someone's life. Oh, thanks for telling us now. It's like, what are you talking about? I received a death threat, and that account was never, not even suspended by Twitter. So I experienced the same thing apparently AOC and everyone else did. What the does that have to do with the president? The president got tested positive, and Democrats, the same Democrats who want this decorum, who revere this decorum that they say should exist, who say that, oh my God, the norms, and a former President Obama and Clinton associate, staffer, associate, consultant, advisor, I don't exactly know what the capacity was, but linked directly to President Obama and Clinton, wished for the president, okay, this is a wish for him to lose his life. What did President Obama, was he forced to disavow the comments? Oh my God, was he forced to disavow the comments? No, he wasn't. Media doesn't do that when it's with Democrats. But the whole point is, Democrats, their true colors, they just simply want, their true intention is simply to oust Trump by any means necessary, and that's what they've always tried to do. Crescent! HAM discussed what some celebrities and Democrats have said about President Trump. What happened to the so-called tolerant Democrats? Crescent, they are not tolerant. They have literally called for the president to lose his life. They have literally called for that. And the rebuttal is, well, why is it an issue? Because a whole lot of people have had those types of threats. It's an issue because you demand this civility and decorum and this empathy from Trump, yet you do not give him or anyone else that type of empathy. You don't show respect or empathy, or you don't revere norms. And when it's Madam Secretary who had an issue in September, you demanded respect from everyone. And you silenced and marginalized anyone who had questions. But Democrats act in their own apoplectic, manic, hysterical manner whenever it suits them. So they were appalled and outraged, but they're never appalled and outraged at their own behavior. Then AOC tweets out today, well, you know what? Other people have experienced the same thing. What does it have to do with Trump? The past 5 months, 6 months has been, well, Trump doesn't have empathy. Well, we see who you really are. You don't have empathy for anyone. You only politicize everything, and from the protests to the primaries where millions of people voted in person without mask mandates. There were no mask mandates in Arizona or Wisconsin or Florida or Illinois. There were no mask mandates in March or April in those places, and they still voted just to kick Bernie to the curb. They didn't postpone those primaries, because had they postponed those primaries, Bernie Sanders would have still been running. The biggest hypocrites on the planet, the super spreader primaries. They were the super spreaders. No, you don't hear that, do you? You don't hear that nonsense, do you? Papa John! Biden calls Robert a friend and a mentor. Harris calls Biden a segregationist, yet Trump is the racist. Am I missing something? Exactly, Papa John. They are the Biden is directly responsible for the 100-to-1 sentencing disparities. The 100-to-1 sentencing disparities in the 90s and early 2000s, where people of color had a 100-to-1 ratio, where they were targeted and convicted and sentenced arrested for the same narcotic as a white person. And that's structural issues that Biden literally is a part of. And he is literally the reason for the 100-to-1 sentencing disparities, but they don't care. And Clinton with her super predator comment, they don't care. Because it's about public relations. Well, they're doing the right things now, so. They're the ones, like President Trump signed the First Step Act to address the sentencing disparities that Biden helped create. And I'm on 3 and 4, 5, 8. Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much. And I'm on 3 and 4, 5, 8. Thank you. Thank you. So Papa John, thank you. Adam on 3 and 4, 5, 8. Thank you. And President Trump made funding to historically black colleges and universities permanent. The $255 million per year permanent. He's allocated more funding to historically black colleges and universities, HBCUs, than any other president ever, including President Obama. I just want to really quickly, so we're going to get to Joe Biden and Hispanic voters in a second, and Latino voters, but he never said those things. He never worked with Russia. He never had anyone. There wasn't a grand plot to undermine Clinton with Facebook ads that nobody saw. They have yet to even mention a Facebook ad. They have lied through their teeth the whole entire time. Annabon 315 thank you so very, very much. As always, I hope all is well. Be here in November. Please. It's going to be fantastic. And thank you for watching for so long. Annabon 31458, thank you. Crescent! President Trump has a massive amount of empathy for others. If he didn't, he wouldn't have passed the First Step Act, ended NAFTA, started peace with other nations. Exactly. We had the lowest unemployment for all. Exactly, Crescent. Exactly. You said it better than I could have. You said it better than I could have. Exactly. Exactly. Exactly, Crescent. But see, again, the media does not care. The media does not care. Kid! Thrival! H.A. been watching since August 2016. Crazy. How do you feel when looking back at yourself at that time? Thanks again. Kid, Thrival, thank you so very much. My God, thank you for watching for so long. I swear to God, I feel like I left a cult. Kid Thrival, I feel like I left a cult. It's really weird, too. I look at myself like in, sometimes I'll see like old videos of myself, and I'm almost embarrassed because I'm like, oh my God. It's bizarre. Kid Thrival, thank you. Great name, by the way. Kid Thrival, thank you so very much for watching for so long. It's always a thrill, ladies and gentlemen, to see people who've been watching since 2016, been watching since 2017. 2015. I think that I started the channel late 2015. I did like a segment every week. And that's when I actually called, you can see, the election in 2015 on one of my first segments ever. I said Clinton can't defeat Trump. And I explained that. But Kid Thrival, thank you so very much. Yeah, 2016, summer of 2016, that was an interesting time. Kid Thrival, thank you so very much. Greatly appreciate it. Thanks for watching for so long. Shingu Patsika! Not even exactly can stop POTUS. Australia's behind you, America. Trump 2020 landslide. God bless you, Shungu Patsika. God bless you, and God bless the Australians, Australia, and thank you to all the Australians watching this channel. Thank you to you, Shungu Patsika. And I love my Australian crew, and it's just, I have so many wonderful viewers in Australia, throughout the world, UK, Canada, Mexico. Just thank you very much, everybody. Shungu Patsika, yeah. That is also something that they're yet again hurting themselves politically because they now can't disparage Trump I think it was the words of Voltaire who said, "You diss me, you diss yourself." So what they're doing, Shungu, is they're trying to disparage Trump. In the process, they're hurting themselves. So, Shungu, thank you so much. Shungu, thank you for always watching. Mr. Big! HA, this might be a hardcore question. How far do we let these Democrats go until... Mr. Big, I say the following. The Second Amendment should only be used to protect one's family and oneself from harm. And that's it. As a defensive, purely defensive, as a right to protect yourself in the most defensive manner, not as an offensive. See, the thing is, as angry or as indignant as they make me or other people feel, or you feel, or we all feel the same things. But I'm telling you, Mr. Big, and everybody here, I'm telling you, as somebody who is a lifelong Democrat, their political party is being dismantled before our very eyes. The media can't see it. When they lose, Mr. Big, when they lose on November 3rd, they're not going to be able to rebound for years. And they have nobody waiting. Like, okay, people forget, Mr. Big and everybody here, President Obama was a rising star in 2004. President Obama had a 4-year, not so much head start, but 4 years to cultivate his campaign, his winning campaign in 2008. President Obama did not suddenly appear from nowhere. In 2004, Mr. Big and everybody here, in 2004, he had a fantastic. It was a very good speech in the when Kerry was elected. Okay, so they had in the DNC convention then. So they had President Obama as the next, great Democratic leader that could unite the Democratic Party in 2004. There is nobody that Democrats have now. Nobody. Bernie Sanders has basically, that movement is a giant bowel movement. Anything Bernie does, Elizabeth Warren will be like, Bernie could be like running 30 years from now, he'll be 106. And then a Warren will be like 92, and he'll be like, Warren, you're running again. You don't let me run. It was 35 years ago. I tried to run, and you tried to split my vote. Now I'm splitting my pants. So upset with you. And then you said that I said that a woman couldn't win 35 years ago, and you're following me. Ride your own. You know what? Why are you riding mine? 35 years from now, do you understand? Bernie could be running again for president, and Elizabeth Warren would be like, I'm running also. Do you understand? They have nobody. So they're done, Mr. Big. You just gotta, you just gotta enjoy the Second Amendment as a protection for yourself and your family. And that's it. Because you let them do what they're gonna do. You let them basically end their entire political party before our very eyes on November 3rd, because they cannot rebound. They have nobody, absolutely nobody to save them. They have no future. The Democrats have no future for me. They have no future. They have no future now because after they lose, they can't say, well, we're going to go in this direction. They have no direction. And Mr. Big, that's a tent full of people who will leave that tent. So the fracture within the Democratic Party is going to be profound. You'll have factions, numerous factions that will break off. Thank you, Mr. Big. Thank you. Jasher! What's going to happen with the second presidential debate? I'm pretty sure they're going to continue with it. I don't see why. Yan San Long, hello. That was awesome. I just read that. Yan San Long, hello. I think it's going to happen. Jasher, thank you. Mr. Big, thank you. Jasher, I think it's going to happen, Jasher. I think it's going to happen. I don't think that Trump is going to postpone anything. Terry Rude! Check and see why and if White House flags at half staff, please. Okay. I don't see. Well, let's see. I don't see anything regarding that. Terry, thank you. I agree with you, JSpot51. President Trump should invite Joe Rogan to the White House. I don't know if Joe Rogan would want to go now because President Trump, is positive, but he should go. President Trump tomorrow should have interviews with Black conservative patriot Brandon Tatum, Anthony Bryan Logan, the amazing Lucas. I mean, he should go on. He should go. He should have Tim Pool tomorrow. He should go with Tim Pool. I mean, tomorrow. You know what? President Trump should be smart with the strategy, and I think that he should have interviews with like Fox News interviews, like twice a week. Really, twice a week. I think he needs to step up the digital, or I should say, step up the interviews. Let's put it that way. But especially, he should do things on YouTube. Crescent, why do you think Warren didn't endorse Biden? Specifically to cut his movement, to specifically cut my movement into two, which is now a gigantic bowel movement. Enjoy the visual. Oh, thanks a lot. Now I know I'm the only person who enjoys this. Thanks a lot, Warren. I just want to thank you so very much. Elizabeth, Lizzie, thank you so much. In 2016, when times were tough and I needed a friend, thank you for being a friend. Da 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 da. Thank you for backing me up in 2016. You're a friend and a confidant. Da-na-na-na. Oh, that's right, you didn't back me up in 20... Gee, I wonder why. I wonder why you chose Madam Goldman Sachs over me. Oh, because you were a backstabber. You were smiling in my face, and all the time you wanted to take my place. And I don't even... She don't even be home, but they keep on calling. Yeah, that's right. That's why you didn't endorse me. Yeah, thank you. And also, thank you very much, Lizzie, for saying that this Michigas again, saying that I said to you, which I didn't say, but thanks for spreading rumors. They're bothering me every day. So thanks for spreading rumors that I said that a woman couldn't win. That's very nice of you. That really helped my campaign a lot. And also, Thanks for running on the same platform to ensure that I don't win. Thank you so very, very, very much. I know, it's a labor of love. I can't, it's actually therapy for me. Nancy. I'll do that later. Basically, you have Crescent, you have Clinton, you have Warren specifically there to ensure that Bernie doesn't win, which is really, Christian O'Brien, hello. I'll do my Mitch in a second. Christian, hello. Old school dad man. Agreed he should do YouTube Blitz. Would reach millions. Oh, old school dad man. He should tomorrow. And it takes a second. Because if you go, like, the president should go and visit Black conservative patriot Tim Pool, Brandon Tatum, Kevin's Corner, get millions upon millions of views, and would show a side of President Trump, because these people are voting for Trump. These are YouTubers voting for President Trump. So, that really should happen. And I'm telling you, that really, really should happen. I agree with you on that. Old school dad man, thank you. Kid Thrival! I started watching you when you were pretty much first to bring up Rickshot on TV. Do you think you were completely... Yeah, I mean, the left is funny. I have detractors who are like, oh, he was a grifter. But, like, there's nothing to grift. There's no swindle in being true to yourself and saying, I am voting for President Trump now. The grift is saying that Trump didn't work with Russia. That's absurd. So, yeah, I mean, the way the left works, Kid Thrival, is that if you don't adopt everything they believe in, Kid Thrival, they write hit pieces on you and try to disparage you. The thing is, though, I don't really care I never cared what they thought, because I was old enough, and even when I was younger, I would hope that I would have had the courage not to care, but I was old enough and experienced enough in my life at that point to where I really didn't care what they thought at all. And I also understood through just, years of studying and research that, whether it's the Bush administration on the lead up to never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts, forever wars, or whether it's Russian interference, which is a hoax and complete hilarious myth, media will gravitate towards a specific narrative or viewpoint for whatever purpose, whether it's politically expedient or for political influence and power. So I knew that when people didn't like my vantage point when I was on the left, because I was like not drinking the Kool-Aid, and I said, I'm not voting for Clinton. That's nuts. I'd rather have Trump. I'd much rather have President Trump. I don't want never-ending war is infinitely more important than combating climate change, which is very important. But that is a very broad statement. That's like saying, I want to become a billionaire. How do you combat climate change? So with an immediate measure, or with a way you can measure your success within the span of a year or 2 years or 1 month. When President Trump officially ends the war in Afghanistan, he has done more in 4 years or within that month than President Obama or Bush had done in 16 years prior. So what President Trump was able to do in 4 years without any support from media, and with media actively trying to undermine him every single second of the day for 4 years, it's pretty amazing. But the Kid Thrival, that's a great question. Kid Thrival, as you probably know, you might have started also on the left, or you might still be on the left, or you might be a Trump supporter and lean left on issues like I do. Second Amendment I'm conservative on. But as you know, Kid Thrival, the left and even the world of the left, everyone's has a beef with one another. Everyone disparages one another. Everyone goes after one another. There's always this, nobody is ever at peace. Kid Thrival on the left, nobody is ever at peace. Everyone's beefing and upset and always has something going on. Everyone always has a problem. There's always a problem on the left. Kid Thrival, thank you. Ferris Bueller. Corn Pop breaks the silence. Bueller! Yes, Bueller. Ferris Bueller. I love that movie. I love Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Saw it in the movie theaters, by the way, for a birthday party. Bueller, thank you. Christian O'Brien.
Christian O'Brien, thank you so very much. I just want to thank you, Christian. And Christian O'Brien, I think that you and I want to send a little message to Nancy. Oh, Nancy. We have a third Supreme Court Justice, Nancy. Why don't you go and get the quaff and the do taken care of? Well, we vote for Amy Coney Barrett, ACB. The notorious ACB.
Christian O'Brien, thank you so very much. Sessions, oh my God. Sessions, the worst. Hi, Trumpy, how are you? Trust me, everybody, trust me. Christian O'Brien, thank you. Christian O'Brien! Aaron Paradiso! The Second Amendment is meant to be a teeth behind the First Amendment. When there is no rule of law, that's when the Second Amendment comes, the next tour. Aaron, that's true, but also it's very difficult because, I agree with you that you need an armed populace to prevent, I never thought this way when I was on the left. I was like, the government's always going to be good and, awesome. But it's true. You do need a Second Amendment to keep the government honest. The only thing, though, is that you never, ever, ever, ever want to engage in any vigilante tactic or any... Because the thing is, we have 320 million Americans. I remember going to the range many times when I first got into, firearms. And when I first got into firearms, it was very interesting, Aaron, because I didn't realize. I thought, initially, everyone is, members of the NRA. Most people are not members of the NRA, and many Second Amendment advocates don't even like the NRA. So you go to the range, and it's like you have people who really don't like the NRA, and for good reason. I mean, one thing that annoyed me is when I joined. I didn't renew my membership, but when I joined, they're like, "You get a fantastic duffel bag, yeah." And I was like, "Oh, this is great. This is awesome. A really big, nice duffel bag." It was this big. I'm telling you, it was like it was like for like a doll set, like a little tiny. It was this big. The picture was like the Titanic. It was so big. It was this big. Literally, the duffel bag was this big. What am I gonna fit in there? Do I have like a little tiny like toy firearm? What am I gonna fit in there? It's this big. I mean, that wasn't that big of a deal, but also they don't really do anything for you. You would think they'd do something for, I don't know. But my point is, Hi, Caroline. Hello. The point is, Aaron, it's like we all have so many, we could be on the same side, but we all have so many different views. And it's very tough to, when people say, well, we have to implement the Second Amendment on this, like, well, but you could be on the same side, have so many different views. Like, for example, I told people, did I not tell you, ladies and gentlemen, did I not tell you that the QLMNOP nonsense is going to be like a big thing that is going to be used against the president? I said it's dangerous. I said it's dangerous and nonsensical. And even the absurd, like, oh, where we go when we go. I don't want to go. I have to go to the cleaners. I'm going to Whole Foods. I don't want to go where you're going. Where are you going? Where are you going? Where are you going? We go, where we go one, we go all. I'm not going with you anywhere. I don't even know you. I'm glad you're voting for President Trump. So am I. Have a nice day. I don't know who, I don't like that phrase, where we go one, we go all. Why? I'm going to the gym when it opens back up. When Mad Max, when the world opens back up. Jordan B. As a conservative, it is interesting. Back in 2016, I watched you and others to get a point of view from the progressive side. I did so in thinking maybe my thoughts were wrong and wanted to give an honest look at the left. Jordan B., thank you. Thankfully, I wasn't really indicative of the left. Thankfully, Jordan B., thank you. I'm glad you're still watching. And I mean, I thought I was, but at the same time, it's like, the left there's so much duplicity, it's unbelievable. They don't care about foreign policy, by the way. They obsess over like niche topics. That's what they obsess about. They will never utter the words. What drives me, what I think is the most important thing, is I want American soldiers away, and I want them home. And I want them removed from never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts and from regions that could... Michael Lee, I watched AJ when Warren Harding... Brother BAs, Michael Lee, hello! Jordan B., thank you. What really, what I find is the most important thing is to remove American soldiers from never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts. That's a lot more important than Trump's belligerent personality. And I also think that ending American regime changes and interventionist foreign policy, this is the most important thing. This is why, ladies and gentlemen, when you have Jordan B., you have these headlines like 50,000 former 5-star generals have said that they don't like Trump and they think he's a bad person. Well, were these high-ranking officials, were they part of the Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld administration, or were they part of President Obama's failed foreign policy? I'll wait for you to answer. 65,000 former Justice Department officials say that William Barr should resign tomorrow and jump into a space capsule and Space Force and launch himself into Pluto, into Uranus. Did these people, are these Democrats? Because you could find 65,000 former federal employees who are Democrats. They always find it's like this is a bad parenting tactic. If you say, well, look at what other kids are doing. Your friends aren't doing that. That's a bad parenting. Don't do that. Don't do that. It's like the Democrats are like these overbearing parents. Like, don't listen to punk music. Don't listen to this music. Don't. Bad. It's bad. It's going to corrupt your mind. Democrats are so obsessed with the management of information because they don't have, they have nothing that people are voting there's no message Democrats have other than vote for us because we say we're better. That's it. So they're so obsessed. There's a tremendous Kremlin disinformation campaign. The United States electorate is not smart enough to decipher what's good for them. So we're going to ban this, ban that, censor this, censor that, ban, censor. And it's like they're so apoplectic. It's like, this information, I mean, people are getting the wrong information. We have to fact check. And then what they do with the fact check is they issue a rebuttal to what President Trump says. That's not a fact check. That's not a fact check. Not. And then they fact check his suspicion. That's not a fact check. A fact check is you say that, like, the United States, Declaration of Independence was in 1747. No, that's not the right date. Not the right date. That's a fact check. Not, there's potential for fraud because Democrats cheat, and it's going to be chaotic. That is not, you cannot fact check that and say, oh, there's no evidence that we would cheat. Yeah, there is evidence. There's a lot of evidence. Ask Bernie Sanders. In fact, don't ask him, actually. He's not going to, cheating? Nah, they don't cheat. They're fantastic people. What are you talking about? Nah, they don't cheat. Fantastic. What are you talking about? So, it's, this is constant, ladies and gentlemen, a constant semantic game where they blame Trump for getting himself, positive, but they're okay with the protests and voting in person in the primaries before the pandemic, before the curve was flattened. They're the biggest hypocrites. Then, the red states, the blue states dominate in terms of lives lost, unfortunately. And then you have the issue of this absurd notion that Democrats want Trump's empathy, that they wanted Trump's leadership. They tried to impeach him before the pandemic hit. So how are you going? Everything they said, you had Eric Swalwell telling people not to wear protective gear. Literally not to wear. I hope he didn't. I hope the amazing Swalwell who ran for president, didn't erase that tweet. Oh, by the way, there were, let's see, 300,000 absentee ballots were rejected in the 2016 presidential election. This is according to APM reports. 300,000 and more mailed votes, more rejected votes. A nationwide forewarning. Wisconsin's high absentee volume and ballot errors. APM reports analysis, 23,000 ballots were thrown out in Wisconsin. That's why they want so many ballots, because they know a whole bunch are going to be thrown out. And you had hundreds of thousands of people voting in person. Hundreds of thousands of people. For Wisconsin's election on April 7, 2020, 61% of ballots were by absentee, mail-in absentee, but you still had tens of thousands of people because they had they used hundreds of thousands because they had over 1 million people voting. So you still have still hundreds of thousands of people voting in person. Without mask mandates, in the rain. So, this is interesting. This is interesting. And they voted for They voted for for Joe Biden while they were getting pelted by hail in the rain against Medicare for all, because Biden is against. Oh, this is interesting too. One reason Biden, first of all, he'll be replaced by Clinton. You watch. But if they're so inept, they go with Biden. Okay, that'll be like a tiny little footnote. When Trump wins again, it'll be like called 2 elections straight. So it's pretty good. But if when it happens, when she replaces Biden, it'll be the biggest political call of all time. You watch. Biden has. Wait, let me just look at this right here. This is Slate 2 weeks ago. Is Biden losing it with Latino voters? Joe Biden isn't doing great with Latino voters. He's trending worse than Hillary Clinton and President Obama in their elections. Worse. Donald Trump is beating Biden among Latinos by 4 points in Florida. That's amazing. That's amazing. How can you win Florida if you're losing Latino voters? How on earth is that possible? How on earth is that possible? Then you have New York ballots missing. Florida, 35,000 mail-in ballots were rejected. I mean, it's going to be. Why? November is going to just be the most important time in the history of the internet. It's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. It's just unbelievable how the Democrats are like, well, we have media, so if we engage in chaos and mayhem and cheat, the media will back us up. And then this is what I can't stand, ladies and gentlemen. I can't stand when, like, Trump is a danger, a threat to democracy. What are you talking? What world do you live in? President Obama presided over a foreign policy that destroyed Libya. He literally engaged in foreign policy that destroyed a country. So what did Trump ever do that's worse than that? I want to know. I would like to know from the wonderful, socially and morally superior and justice-oriented left, what did Trump do that's worse than what President Obama did in Libya? I want to know. There's nothing. The answer is there's nothing. They just think, the left thinks very highly of itself all the time. All the time. So if you had 68% of voters, you had 1 million people voting. You still had 400,000 people voting in person in Wisconsin. So it's like, it's just unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. President Trump, Helmut Norpoth, is going to be the man after this election. I think that this channel will do quite well, very well, and my other channel, and my other endeavors. We're going to have 8 years of President Trump, and it's going to be pretty much the end of the Democratic Party. But Helmut Norpoth has the primary model. And Biden, New Hampshire, 8% of the vote. Let's just see here. Joe Biden dealt major defeat by 5th place finish in New Hampshire. So Helmut Norpoth of Stony Brook University, the professor, basically said Biden has no chance to win, which is what I've been saying forever. But it's very interesting, and he brought this up, and I kind of touched upon it, but I never really focused on it the way Professor Norpoth, I love his name, Professor Helmut Norpoth, talks about it. So he had less than 10% of the vote, and he had about 8% of the vote. Okay. He had a 5th place finish in New Hampshire. New Hampshire fine goes for like the more left-leaning candidate, but the first primaries in the Democratic rigged, hilarious system, the one thing they are good at is addressing enthusiasm. See, Bernie Sanders had a tremendous enthusiasm this year. Still, he didn't communicate policies that the average Democrat throughout the country thought were feasible. But he still had a heck of a lot more enthusiasm than Biden. Paint watches Biden dry. Amy Klobuchar defeated Biden in New Hampshire. If I just stared at ants crawling or like paint drying, it would be infinitely more thrilling than listening to A.B. Klobuchar talk about anything. Birds Nation 302! Thank you, Birds Nation 302. Thank you. Christian O'Brien! Fielding Mellish equals Fielding Mellish equals Bernie Sanders. Christian O'Brien, thank you. Neurotic blue color. Fielding Mellish. Looking it up right now. Christian O'Brien, thank you. Thank you. Sam Roth, hello. They're absolutely delusional. If, like, there's no way that this man is going to win anything. Biden cannot win. Do you understand? Okay, so let's just my needs. Okay. He needs voter turnout, Biden. So, this is the New York Times. Biden wants African-American voter turnout similar to President Obama's. This is impossible! President Obama's voter turnout in every group, especially black and African-American voters, was historic. Biden is the definition of an uninspiring... Well, first of all, he helped write the crime bill and the sentencing disparities, and then made an absurd comment saying you ain't who you are if you don't vote for him. So... he's doing worse among Latino voters. Then you have President Obama's privately voiced concerns Biden could F things up, according to report, which is their way of saying we don't like Biden and we like Clinton. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. But, you know, the main thing is Trump going 8 years, but it's going to happen. There's no way. I'm trying to look at a scenario. I'm trying to see, like, I come from the left. I'm telling you. I understand the mentality of the left. He has no enthusiasm. He has no enthusiasm at all. he's going to have horrendous voter turnout, and he finished in like fourth and fifth place in Iowa and New Hampshire, and then a distant second in Nevada. So, Clem. I thought Klobuchar was the health drink. All the rage. It's just kombucha. Clam joke, thank you. Thank you. Clam joke, thank you. So, it's just so interesting. Like, it is so interesting that the polls were horrendous. Then they say, well, the polls were actually accurate. The swing state polls were not accurate at all. That's what counts. And the popular vote polls, yeah, if you get so hold on, let's see. California, let's read this. California. There's an article here that I have about California. Hold on one second. Pertaining to the popular vote. So, where is that article? All right, so hold on one second. Because on election day, Trump was up on the popular vote. On election day, which is what counts. It's official. Clinton's popular vote win came entirely from California. Democrats who are having trouble getting out of the first stage of grief and denial aren't being helped by the fact that now all the votes are counted. Hillary Clinton's lead in the popular vote is top 2.8 million. So the unschooled in how the United States election works, okay, this seems totally unfair, but look more closely in the numbers, you see that Clinton's advantage all but disappears. As we noted earlier in this space, while Clinton's overall margin looks large and impressive, it is due to Clinton's huge margin of victory in one state, California, where she got a whopping 4.3 million more votes than Trump. California is the only state, in fact, where Clinton's margin of victory was bigger than President Trump's and President Obama's in 2012. 65% versus Obama 60%. But California is the exception that proves the true genius of the Electoral College, which was designed to prevent regional candidates from dominating national elections. In recent years, California has been turning into what amounts as a one-party state, which is true. If you take California out of the popular vote equation, then Trump wins the rest of the country by 1.4 million votes. And if California voted like every other Democratic state where Clinton averaged 53.5% wins, Clinton and Trump end up in a virtual tie in the popular vote. So, Trump won 30 states, Clinton won 20 states. And all of Clinton's popular vote lead came from California. So it's like they market this as, oh my God. You know, this is so horrible. Look what, the popular vote. She won the popular vote. So she didn't win the popular vote in 30 states. And they're tied in the popular vote if California just votes was similar to every other Democratic win for Clinton. Clinton also was could have been the first female president, campaigned, actually, like, her campaign was horrendous, but she had a better campaign than Biden. Biden has consistently insulted voters. He stands for nothing. He opposes everything the left wants. There's zero enthusiasm regarding this man. He looks like Tales from the Crypt's cousin. Like, Trump testing positive looks a million times better than Biden, who's apparently healthy. So, like, that's what I'm saying. Clinton is going to save, and they're waiting until the last possible second. I didn't see the super chat from Crescent. Eric H526, could you let me see. I didn't see the super chat from Crescent. Crescent, I apologize. Crescent! I did not see the super chat. Could you write down, Eric? Oh, yeah. I did see that, actually. I did. Crescent, I did see that. I saw Styx's segment on that. Yes, Crescent, I did. Christian O'Brien! Look, John's last-minute economic plan does nothing to tackle number one. Facing the middle class, it happens to be. Wow, jobs, GOPS. Yes, Christian O'Brien. Let me see this here. Let me try to get this quote out. Yes. That's right. That's right. No, he's talking about McCain. That's right. McCain. Oh my God. I'm telling you, Amy Coney Barrett in the Supreme Court, that was an off-speed pitch. President Trump testing positive, another off-speed pitch. I'm telling you, the biggest curveball is coming up. They can't be going with Biden, and if this is the thing, when people say, "Oh yeah, well it's delusional," if they go with Biden, they're going to lose miserably, which will be fantastic. So, people don't like. The last 4 years has been a temper tantrum from Democrats who've created a Trump. See, the Trump that exists, they can't, if they just accurately reported the Trump that exists, it would actually just be, a sometimes belligerent president or personality. But you know what? I mean, they don't give him a chance to be empathetic or sympathetic. They don't give him a chance to, like, when you see him in interviews with a reporter. Who was the Barstool Sports CEO? He had an interview with Trump. I mean, Trump was personable. He's personable and amiable with, like, Sean Hannity at times. President Trump has been part of Americana, like American culture, for decades, and suddenly they have a problem with the man. Christian O'Brien, thank you. Christian O'Brien said they were doing the to Malarkey joke. It's sad. Yeah, it's sad. But it's also, he's playing ball because he probably has a whole lot of skeletons. Aside from the skeleton he looks like, a whole lot of skeletons that they are totally sweeping under the rug. I think I don't really, Christian O'Brien, thank you so very much, as always, Christian. I don't really I don't see November 3rd being very good for Democrats at all. I don't see them being very good at all for Democrats. I don't see when they lose. You have to understand, when they lose, ladies and gentlemen, not if, when they lose, this will be a psychological and emotional phenomenon. You have millions of people who truly believe they're morally and intellectually superior from Trump voters. Or to Trump voters. You have people who believe that they are morally and intellectually and even emotionally superior to Trump supporters, to President Trump. When they lose again, oh yeah. When they lose again, it is just going to be fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, God bless to my super chat. Thank you. I'm going to start doing in a couple of days an upload shortly after my live stream. So I'm going to start that in a couple of days. So you will have an upload after these fantastic live streams where we approach 1,000 every night. Do you think that's a good idea? In the chat, what do you think? Like a recap upload type thing? Papa John! I really don't care about the 3 people voting for Biden. I feel the millions. Yeah, but Papa John, Paul, thank you. Papa John, thank you. You know, I just don't think there's going to be... I don't think it's going to be Biden. I think it's going to be Clinton. She could make it close. But I don't think I don't think he would ever have a chance if they actually go with him on November 3rd. Papa John, thank you. Thank you, Luke St. Martin. Thank you. I was waiting for some feedback. Okay. Crescent, thank you. All right. Michael Lee, hello. Thank you, Eric. Thank you. All right, everybody. God bless. In a couple of days, I'll be starting. I'll be doing an upload after this live stream. So, people, when it starts heating up, I'll be doing my 9 p.m. live stream, and I'll probably do a 4 p.m. live stream also. Either a 4 or 3 p.m. live stream Pacific. So I will be doing probably two live streams, probably about the middle of this month. So I'll probably have a 2 p.m. live stream. Oh no, should I have it 2 p.m.? No, I'll probably have a 3 p.m. live stream followed by a 4 p.m. I'm thinking, I'm followed by followed by a 9 p.m. I'll have a live stream in the day sometime. I don't know what time, but it's going to be a specific time where everyone can remember the time. Luke St. Martin, Eric H526, the 2 best moderators in all of YouTube. Vanch, hello. Gentlemen, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, give Eric H526 and Luke St. Martin a lot of love. and thank them for their amazing, amazing support and work. They're awesome. Everyone, God bless you all. Thank you so much. I'll see you tomorrow, everyone. Subscribe to H.A. Goodman's other channel. And thank you so much, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow. Things are heating up. Thank you. Be here at 9 p.m. tomorrow evening.